Hi everybody, this is Jim Aikin. In this video we're going to take a look at some of the more basic things that you can do with envelope generators. What I have here, I have an Aikin's momentary on button and a rampage module from Bifaco. At the moment you're not going to hear any sound, but watch the scope when I click this button. The output of the rampage is going into the scope, so you can see that it's producing a nice little contour. When I turn on the oscillator, you'll hear it, and this is going to affect the pitch because the output is also going up to the FM input of our VCO. At the moment, this is an attack decay envelope. The attack or rise is instantaneous, and the fall or decay is slower. One of the things that I've discussed in this month's column is the curvature of envelope segments. So if I turn this knob this way, you'll notice the little icon here that shows that this curvature of the fall segment has now become concave, and you can see that in the scope. Whereas if I turn it this way, it will become convex, with a slightly different shape. Okay, that's enough of that boring tone, but let's see what happens when we connect this to the filter frequency input instead of the oscillator. Now we're going to get a filter sweep. Now, one of the other topics that I've discussed in this month's column is that this is a trigger-based device, not a gate-based device. What that means is that if I click the momentary button repeatedly, the envelope will keep re-triggering itself. Let's go back over here. Let's turn it on. We'll set it to a fairly long fall, and then I'm going to trigger it repeatedly. There you go, something suitable for 1970s video games, I think. Now, at the moment, we're just listening to this signal raw because I haven't hooked up the ADSR attack, decay, sustain, release envelope to the VCA yet, but let's do that now. Now, when I turn the mixer on, you won't hear anything because we have to trigger this, and this is a gate type device, not a trigger type device. It says gate right there. So if I do this quickly and let go of the button, the envelope will die out. What's going on here with the pitch doesn't really matter. We could get rid of that. But if I hold the button down, I'm producing a longer note because the gate signal is staying high. Now, at the moment, this is set to 100% sustain. If I turn this back, you're going to get a fall at the speed of the decay parameter, and then it will stick at the sustain level. You can maybe see that on the VCA's meter here, but let's take that into the scope so that we can inspect it. You can see that the envelope is dropping from the attack peak back to the sustain. Now, if I make the attack longer, well, that isn't really very long, but it's a little softer. Let's turn the release down to 0. Now, immediately when I lift the button, the sound will stop. So if I do a short gate, you're never going to get to the long decay time. It will stop immediately. Whereas if I hold it down, we'll get to the sustain level, and then the sound will stop. On the other hand, if the sustain level is full, the decay knob now won't do anything. Doesn't matter whether it's a short decay or a long decay, because the sustain level is at 100%. If the sustain level is at 0, that decay knob will have a large effect. Whoa! Even though I was holding the gate down, we didn't get to the release segment because the decay stopped the sound. And if I hold it down for a long time, the release doesn't matter because it fell to 0 when we got to the sustain level. The sustain level was 0, so nothing else could happen. Now let's take a quick look at a couple of more complex envelopes. What I have here is an NV9 from MSC Hack. It's actually 9 separate channels of envelope. There's a couple of bugs in this module, so I don't use it a lot, but this demonstrates, I think, very nicely one of the cool things that you can do with multi-stage envelopes. You can edit each of these points separately, drag it up or down. One of the limitations of this module is that you can't drag the points left or right, but you can create different envelope contours like this. And at the moment, this is modulating both the oscillator frequency and the filter frequency. So let's do it and see what happens. Well, that's nice, but I think we want a little more filter frequency response. And you can see that the output of the module on the scope exactly mirrors what we've created in the graphic interface. The other module that I want to look at is this complex DAHD over here. This is a delay, attack, hold, decay envelope, and it's triggered rather than being gated. So let's take its output, and we'll take a quick look first at what the output does. It's not connected to anything yet, but notice that when I click, it doesn't start for a minute because the delay time is non-zero. So we'll take that and use it to modulate the filter. How about that? Take the output here. Now when I start the note with the button, the filter envelope won't kick in quite yet. And then we can turn up the hold time, and it will stay at its maximum value for a little while before going back down. We can make a longer attack and a longer decay. This envelope generator from NISTHI also has some neat little outputs. I don't know if you can see those. I think they're maybe off the bottom of the screen, but it will send a trigger at the end of various cycles. So let's see, I got to get rid of this. I got to put this up here. And now we're going to take the output of this and use it to modulate the frequency while the DAHD is modulating. Now what happened there was that the end of rise trigger from the DAHD, when the attack segment finishes and we go into the hold segment, the other envelope is triggered. So that's a simple example of some of the more complex and interesting things that you can do with envelope generators.
Wow.